Joseph Big Joey Massino was the legendary godfather of the Bonanno crime family. To the FBI, he was known as the Last Don.
And I did make contacts, and I eventually was able to make some good contacts with members of both the Colombo crime family of Brooklyn and the Bonanno crime family of New York City. And these contacts led to me being able to gather information regarding all the Mafia families in New York that would be very valuable for evidence for trial purposes.
Following the devastating investigation involving undercover FBI agent Joe Pistone as Donnie Brasco, the Bonanno crime family was in shambles. And to make matters worse, in 1991, the current boss of the family, Philip Rusty Rustelli, died at the age of 73 from liver cancer. Rustelli's protege, Joseph Big Joey Massino, who was incarcerated at the time, was voted to be the new official boss of the Bonanno crime family. Joe Massino was released in 1992 and ready to take the reins and put the family back together. One of Massino's first moves was to make his brother-in-law and right-hand man Sal Vitale the underboss of the family, and ordered all social clubs to be closed, making it harder for FBI agents to surveil the comings and goings of different crews in the family. Massino would preach loyalty to his underlings, telling them, from the 1930s to now, the Bonanno family is the only family in New York that has never had a government cooperator or a rat. With all the other major bosses away in prison, Joe Massino was truly the last Don. By the late 90s, Massino seemed untouchable. The feds continued to fail in their efforts to catch Massino on wiretap or surveil him doing anything that might incriminate him. But the feds were relentless and decided to try an unconventional tactic, using a forensic accountant to dissect the financial records of Joe Massino and his underboss and brother-in-law, Sal Vitale. The agents went through bank accounts and business transactions and discovered 6 checks from Massino and Vitale to a wealthy businessman named Barry Weinberg for the purchase of parking garages in Manhattan. It was discovered that Weinberg had not reported over $14 million in income and owed millions in taxes. The feds would use this to go after Weinberg and contacts he had in the Bonanno family. Weinberg was arrested and almost immediately agreed to cooperate and wear a wire against members of the Bonanno family. This would lead to Weinberg recording incriminating information from 2 Bonanno captains, Richie Cantarella and Frank Coppa, who would be arrested on charges from extortion to murder. Facing major jail time, the 2 men would become the first made members of the Bonanno family to flip. The 2 captains would give years of incriminating evidence on the boss of the family, Joe Massino, and his underboss, Sal Vitale, and on January 9, 2003, Massino and Vitale were both arrested at their home. While in custody, the feds revealed to Sal Vitale that Massino had considered whacking Vitale to stop any incriminating evidence from leading back to Massino. Facing a murder charge, Sal Vitale does the unthinkable and cooperates with the government against his brother-in-law and boss, Joe Massino. In total, 7 made men close to Massino would cooperate against him, providing enough information to bury the last Don. On May 24, 2004, the trial of Joe Massino began in Brooklyn. With overwhelming evidence from the star witness and brother-in-law Sal Vitale and new sentencing guidelines, Massino found himself facing the death penalty. Facing a possible execution, Joe Massino became what he always hated, a rat, being the first major mob boss in history to flip. With Massino's cooperation, the feds brought over 15 indictments against members of the Bonanno family. Massino would be sentenced to life in prison, but in June of 2013, the Department of Justice filed a request for Massino to be released due to his cooperation and failing health. The request was granted, and Massino entered the Witness Protection Program. On September 14, 2023, Joe Massino, the last Don, passed away at the age of 80, closing a chapter in the history of the American Mafia. Let us know in the comments what you think about Joe Massino, and keep following American Made.
But you still can't do that without getting an okay from me. You're not the boss, though. You gotta have unity. Without unity, you got disunity, you can't win.